Hey, it is Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, along with Wade Neely. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes. Happy to be here with you for the next couple of hours talking local, regional, and national sports. So it's going to be fun. Wade, how's everything?
Things are good. We are off. We are running. It's Thanksgiving week. We're getting closer and closer to Turkey Day. Gobble till you wobble type deal. But we're just glad you're back in the saddle too. We missed you yesterday, but you're back and kind of all is right with the world a little bit.
I don't know about all that, man. I'm sure that Blaine and you held it down famously. And yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to get away, but it's good to be back. You know how that goes. So happy to be back. We will be talking in the next hour with the Blue Raider voice, Chip Walters. We will be talking a little MTSU with him. Tough senior day on Saturday for the Blue Raiders, but that's kind of how the football season has gone in year one DM, unfortunately. Hopefully we're on to bigger and better things from there. We'll be talking little hoops, both men's and women's. Women with a big outcome today, actually. I'd assume we'll be getting to that in the rundown here in a bit. But yeah, we'll be checking in with Chip Walters in the second hour. In the next segment, we will be joined by MIELNICKI of Zen Sports. If you're looking for some tips on how to make some money here over the Thanksgiving holidays, stick around. Allie may have some instruction for you there. We'll we'll check in with her. I wonder what she would have thought about Chris Sale for Cy Young back months ago. But yeah, we'll try to pick Allie's brains on some things here when we visit with her in the next segment. We'll be talking some college football. Again, the fourth iteration of the college football playoff rankings and projected brackets will drop this evening. And so hopefully we can get out ahead of that a little bit and see what that's going to look like. We'll talk some NFL. There was a game last night, the Har Bowl or the Harbaugh Bowl, depending on how you care to refer to it. Little college basketball as well. So we got all sorts of stuff to get into here over the next couple of hours. And again, looking forward to doing so. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and start it up with yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Let's get this party started, folks. Tuesday rundown. We go back to girls basketball scores from last night. So strap in for these here. Shelbyville picks up a 44-42 win over Beach. It was Station Camp 66, Clarksville Northeast 30. East Robertson on top of Friendship Christian 58-24. Gleason takes care of Houston County 51-49. Cheatham County on top of Greenbrier 63-30. It was Hampshire 46, Zion Christian 38. Harpeth Hall wins over Hendersonville 42-30. Richland with the nail biter, but hangs on versus Independence 52-44. Nolensville takes care of Green Hill 46-33. Oakland was a 58-31 winner versus Fairview. Creekwood on top of Pearl Cone 65-50. It was Portland all over Gallatin 66-25. Loretto taking care of Priceville, Alabama 60-43. Columbia Academy with nearly a 20-point win versus Ravenwood 70-52. Page 65. Blaine and I were wondering this, Mo. How do you pronounce this? Is this Rebolt? Rebo?
Rybalt out of Jacksonville.
Rybalt. Guess what? Bad trip for them. They got beat by Page 65-30 last night in girls basketball. Other scores. Collinwood was a 48-36 winner versus Riverdale. Eagleville takes care of Santa Fe 58-34. East Hickman 69. St. Cecilia Academy 28. Stewart's Creek 39, a winner versus Providence Christians 35. Rossview on top of Sycamore 50-32. Watertown 66. FC Boyd Senior Christian 26. Final two games here. Wilson Central 59-54 winner over Arlington, and it was Lawrence County winning 58-39 over Winfield, Alabama.
In boys basketball action on Monday, it was Ezel Harding with a nail-biter 55-53 over Antioch. Arlington defeated Beach 74-64. Good Pasture Downs Christ Presbyterian 66-44. Centennial CCCHS with a 54-34 win over Riverdale. It was Station Camp 55, Clarksville Northeast 43. Martin Luther King knocked off Columbia Central 78-48. Hillsborough with a 63-52 win over Franklin. Friendship Christian defeated Columbia Academy 81-40. It was Gleason 73, Houston County 69. Blackman with a 42-34 win over Green Hill. Cheatham County defeated Greenbrier 73-62. Zion Christian and Hampshire did not finish that game, apparently 36-18, but I'm told that floor conditions out at Hampshire prevented that game from coming to a four-quarter conclusion. So I'm not sure if that's an official outcome there or not. Camden Central defeated Harpeth 57-41. It was Siegel 48, Hickman County 39, Overton 64, Republic 18, Montgomery Bell Academy with a 69-27 win over Hendersonville. It was Valor Collegiate 56, Mount Juliet Christian 51, Culleoka with a 64-53 win over Murfreesboro Central. Nashville Christian 104, River Christian. I wonder if this is Riverside Christian. River Christian Academy 19.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oakland 84, Fairview 28. Pope John Paul II with a 69-47 win over Laverne. It was Portland 57, Gallatin 54. Ravenwood 56, Richland 47. Bearden with a 79-34 win over Siegel. It was Father Ryan defeating Smyrna 60-44. Hume Fogg with a 72-65 win over Stewart's Creek. Sycamore defeated Rossview 66-58. Upperman downed Lawson 65-42, and that was a milestone victory for Bobby McWilliams, the longtime boys coach up at Upperman. I believe it was his 1,000th. Let me get this. I'm sorry. No, not 1,000, just 600. My bad.
Oh, well, still a lot.
Just 600. Yeah. Bobby McWilliams' 600th career victory there as Upperman defeats Lawson 65-42. Watertown with a 68-40 win over FC Boyd Senior Christian. Webb School 67, Kip Nashville 28, and Wilson Central with a 55-47 win over Stratford.
Other scores coming in hot yesterday. College basketball on the ladies' side, it was Chattanooga taking care of Lipscomb 66-60. North Alabama defeats Cumberland 87-48. On the men's hardwood action last night, Chattanooga defeated TSU 85-78 was your final in that game. NBA action last night, the Memphis Grizzlies pick up a 123-98 victory over the visiting Portland Trailblazers. NHL, it was the Devils 5, the Preds 2. Tough sledding thus far continuing for Nashville. And as Mo mentioned a moment ago, in the Har Bowl last night, it was Baltimore defeating LA 30-23. Again, Ravens on top of the Chargers.
High school basketball doubleheader action today. At 5 o'clock, Christ Presbyterian travels across Nashville to Davidson Academy. 6 o'clock starts for the rest of these girls first. Summertown at Cascade. Clarksville Northwest goes to Clarksville. West Creek is at Clarksville Academy. Cane Ridge travels to East Nashville. Mount Pleasant goes to Chapel Hill, taking on the Rockets of Forest. Hampshire goes to Frank Hughes. That's reigning state finalist on the boys' side, Frank Hughes. Ezel Harding is at Franklin Road Academy at 6. Grace Christian of Franklin travels to Friendship Christian. Giles County hosting Brooks at 6 o'clock. Stewart County is at Houston County. Joe Burns hosts Montgomery Central. Springfield goes to Liberty Creek. Cheatham County is at Rossview. White House Heritage is at White House. And at a time unknown, Nolensville is at Dixon County.
Check those local listings, folks. Girls basketball action. These are standalone games. One of them's already final. It was Hickman County defeating Riverdale earlier today, 40-30. Also earlier today, don't have scores just yet, though. Creekwood took on Wilson Central at 10. Green Hill visiting Columbia Academy at 1 p.m. Also at 1, Arlington versus Pearl Cone. At 1:30, it was Page versus Somerset Academy Canyons. out of Florida at 1:30 again. 2:30 start time between Lincoln County and Independence. 3:30 as Mars Hill Bible will take on Loretto. Now we get into the evening matchups. 5:30 girls action. It's BGA at Ravenwood. 6 p.m. tonight, you can catch Kirkwood at Centennial. Glencliff will be at Lead Academy. Murfreesboro Central Magnet is at Silverdale Academy. Beach is also playing. Don't have an opponent listed, but sounds like Beach will be in action today on the ladies' side. And also don't have a start time listed, but we can tell you that Lebanon is supposed to play Hoover, and that's at Alabama.
Boys basketball action already today. Wilson Central with a 60-46 win over Martin Luther King. At 2 o'clock, Bearden faces Page. At 2:30, Arlington is taking on Stewart's Creek. At 3 o'clock, Goodpasture and Columbia Academy will clash. 4 o'clock start for Ensworth and BGA. 4:30, Kirkwood and Riverdale will match up. 5 o'clock, Creekwood takes on Camden Central. At 5:30, Hume Fogg faces Columbia Central. At 7, the Tennessee Heat is at Ravenwood. Also, Stratford is at Beach. 7:30, Fairview is playing. We don't know who. Also at 7:30, Donaldson Christian is at Merrill Hyde, and Green Hill takes on Smyrna. In women's basketball action today, this one's already in the books. Middle Tennessee State goes down to Tallahassee, picks up an 80-54 win over the host Lady Rattlers of Florida A&M. At 3:30 p.m., it's Vanderbilt at Arizona in the Acrisure Classic, and that can be seen on True TV. Is that what that means, Mark?
Yes.
That's right.
Okay, there we go.
Buckle up, baby.
There we go. True TV getting in the mix. 5:30, UT Southern is down at Montevallo. At 6, you can see it on the SEC network. Western Carolina is at Food City Center at Thompson Bowling Arena, taking on Kim Caldwell and the Lady Vols. Men's basketball action tipped off about 30 minutes ago. Austin Peay is in Atlanta, taking on Georgia State. At 3 o'clock on ESPN Plus, Bryant comes to the Gentry Center, taking on TSU. Fisk is at Arkansas Baptist at 5. At 5:30, Crowley's Ridge is at Cumberland. And in the Cancun Challenge at 7:30, Loyola Marymount faces Belmont. You can see it on the CBS Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your rundown. Your top story brought to you, as always, by the fine folks at Piggly Wiggly in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch items, as well as their hand-cut meats, and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia. And we talked, I guess it was late last week, and then the man himself said yesterday that he would not be retiring as North Carolina football coach at the end of this season. Well, other folks thought otherwise for Mack Brown, because this morning North Carolina officials announced that this will be, in fact, Mack Brown's final season at the helm of the Tar Heels. They play this weekend, and beyond this weekend's matchup with NC State, we're not sure. I don't think it's been determined whether or not Mack will lead them into a bowl appearance should they get selected. They are 6-5, so they've already reached bowl eligibility, but a loss might, I don't know, maybe they go, maybe they don't. Maybe Mack coaches, maybe they don't. I don't know, but certainly Mack Brown will not be coaching the University of North Carolina in 2025. This is the first Power 4 coaching change to come about this season, and little unexpected, maybe, because again, he had said he wasn't going to retire.
Yeah, I love that, right? I'm not going to retire. Well, you ain't coaching here anymore. So,
yeah, you ain't got to go home.
Yeah,
You
that is correct. Here. That is correct. You will not be retiring.
You're
as
not
coach
retiring.
At North Carolina. You'll retire somewhere else. But, the guy's 73 years old, and at times looks kind of like he's, still got a pretty good grasp on the modern game. But, and also at other points, you're kind of wondering, man, is this really the direction that we kind of want to go in? And we see teams, Miami, Clemson, SMU now. I mean, North Carolina, I'm not going to say they're a complete afterthought, but they kind of feel, especially now that Drake May's gone, they kind of feel like a little bit of an afterthought and a chance perhaps to at least chart a new path now, as they're the first one to crack the seal, you said.
Yeah. And I mean, I think North Carolina kind of has to figure out where they are particularly in this new Atlantic Coast Conference. Again, you're talking about Miami, you're talking about Clemson, you're talking about SMU at this point. Where does North Carolina fit, and how do they get themselves back into the mix at the top of this league? So it'll I'm intrigued by what the possibilities are over there. This was his 6th year in his second stint with the Tar Heels. Obviously, he departed and was at Texas for a period of time and then came back. But 44-32, 5 bowl appearances in this 6 seasons. Again, they are 6-5 right now, 3-4 in ACC play, and I've spent 16 years at North Carolina and will always cherish the memories and relationships Sally and I have built while serving as head coach. Moving forward, my total focus is on helping these players and coaches prepare for Saturday's game against NC State and give them the best chance to win. We want to send these seniors out right, and I hope our fans will show up Saturday to do the same. So he left Texas and retired for 5 years. Then
TV, yeah.
And then resumed as coach at Carolina. Like you said, Drake May and Sam Howell kind of elevated them to a different level. It's a quarterback-driven game.
Yeah, so. And I'm reading here too. I mean, that is the interesting part. On one hand, that's great, but on the other hand, you had those two guys who, especially May, of course, going 3rd overall this year. You had those two guys, and you didn't win an ACC championship. If you feel that North Carolina should be held to that standard,
right.
I could also make a really compelling argument that maybe they shouldn't be held to that standard. And so, heck of a run. I mean, he is. When you think of North Carolina football, I mean, that's kind of one of the first people you think about, especially.
I mean, who else do you think of?
I mean,
from a coaching standpoint.
Well, this is old school of me, but I think Dre Bly, man, back in his 1997 year when they went, 10-1 or 11-1. But as far as coaching standpoint, for sure, he is the GOAT at that school. But, this is a chance. It feels like we talk about so many schools and, this new environment, like you just mentioned, maybe a chance for them to kind of shuffle the deck if they want to really put more emphasis on being a championship caliber football team.
Sure. Cookeville native, older brother of Watson Brown, both of whom have, obviously made their mark at the coaching level in college football. Started his career as a running back at Vanderbilt, transferred to Florida State. Probably a good move at that point. And went into coaching from there, spent time at Appalachian State and Tulane prior to his first coaching stint at North Carolina back in 1988. So again, 73 years old, might be a good time to kind of move it along. And again, I will be interested to see what direction they go in from here, who shows interest, who they show interest in, that kind of thing. Looking at this article on CBS Sports Network, they do have a 4-star quarterback, Bryce Baker, committed. And, with signing day a week from tomorrow, the early signing day, that'll be, that's got to be priority number one, making sure that kid is comfortable enough to sign next week, because you don't want to wait till February on him. So they're kind of under the gun a little bit.
Moving. Yeah, got to keep things moving. It'd be cool if they do get to a bowl game. Obviously, if you get him kind of one, heroic send off. But he's owed what did I read? $2.8 million if he doesn't come back, and it's 73. We know these guys, they like to hang on sometimes, and you want to be around the game. But I could be cool going to the house in retirement for $2.8 million.
Slight understatement. Yeah. I'm pulling the Ed Orgeron at that point. What time you want me to leave and what door you want me to go out? Yeah.
You can make $2.8 million not to coach, and then you could probably make another $1 million or so from television if he wants to get back into that realm again.
Or you can just be good with $2.8 million.
Yep. Find you a good fishing hole over there in North Carolina or now Cookeville and see what happens.
That's it. Absolutely. Let's take a break from the Lee Company Studios here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we return, we will be joined by Zen Sports' Allie MIELNICKI. Get your wallets out. She's going to tell us how to put something in them. Stay tuned after the break. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Step into the Lionel retail store at Opry Mills, Nashville, and you'll be captivated by all the magic of the 123-year history of Lionel trains. Whether you're already a train enthusiast or just getting started, Lionel will energize your love for trains. NASCAR fan? Come check out your local Lionel station to learn all there is to know about model trains and die-cast NASCAR collectibles. Visit nashville.lionel.com or call 615-455-9399.
Well, we went all out for you this year, didn't we, little girl? Yep, we got you what you wanted with all the bells and whistles.
A brand new car?
Let's go check it out. Come on. We're here.
Oh my gosh, we're going to the garage. I got a car.
Yep, let's get in here. Let me show you what's going on.
Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Duggar, got your 18 SEER heat pump with your ultraviolet home treatment system.
I cannot believe it. Thank you.
Yes! Give the gift of clean air this year. Merry Christmas from the Busy Bee family.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
He shoots, and he scores!
Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes, and we are joined now by Allie MIELNICKI. of Zen Sports. Allie, you probably need to send us another promo picture because the one that we're using today is of a you in a New York Giants jersey, and I think that might be Daniel Jones. So,
well, it's funny you say that. My Malik Neighbors jersey just arrived in the mail an hour ago. So,
okay, get us a picture of that one because, yeah, I think that's going to be the one that you want to rock with.
It was on back order for a while, but it arrived just in time.
Literally, yeah. Allie, tell us what's going on at Zen Sports. Y'all got a big thing going right now.
Sure. We have it's called the Big Game Sweepstakes. So we're going to have one grand prize winner. It's going to be drawn on December 3rd. That will win 2 tickets to the Super Bowl 59 in New Orleans. That includes 2 VIP tailgate tickets, 2 tickets to the game, and hotel accommodations. Don't want that. If you're the grand prize winner, we'll give you $10,000 cash instead. And we also will have 50 additional winners who will have their choice of either 2 tickets to any Tennessee sporting event or $100 cash. And it's so simple. All you need to do is bet on the app. You earn 1 entry for every dollar you bet, 1 entry for every bet by itself that you place, and twice the amount of entries for every parlay that you do. So we're really excited about hosting this. We've seen, a lot of action, people coming in, wanting to bet. It ends this Saturday is the last day you can get entries. And like I said, the winner will be drawn December 3rd. So definitely get on the app, start betting, and earn some entries, and you could win.
This would be a good week to get some bets down, I would think, too, with conference play winding down at the collegiate level, the NFL heating up, that kind of thing. A lot to get some money down on. What are you looking at in particular here over the next few days?
I loved betting the Thanksgiving game, so I can't say they're all great. Obviously, my Giants are playing the Cowboys. That'll be like the race to who scores 10, if that even. But there's some other good games. You got the Packers playing the Dolphins, I believe. I'm betting all those Thanksgiving games. I haven't really studied the lines 1,000,000% yet. But I am excited to watch some Thanksgiving football. You always have the Lions on. I believe they are facing the Bears. They're big 11.5-point favorites. I don't know how you could stop the Lions. They've just been an offensive machine the last couple of weeks. So if I had to pick my best bet so far, it'd be laying 11.5 with the Lions.
Especially playing the Bears.
Yeah. And Allie, you kind of made a great point there inadvertently, I think. Zen Sports feels like the only way that a lot of folks might be interested in watching the Giants and Cowboys on Thanksgiving, sadly.
You gotta bet some. You gotta have some incentive to watch the game. So get a bet in. We have plenty of player props. So bet some touchdown scores, anything. Let's see what you get.
Absolutely, and that was something I was going to ask you too. As far as what Zen Sports kind of offers, it sounds like player props, which we know are just a boatload of fun to kind of keep tabs on. Anything special for Thanksgiving that you guys, if you can tease, or any extra promos or anything going on this week?
Sure, we're running a big promo this weekend called Action Pack Weekend. If you bet a minimum $10,000 in betting handle from Thursday all the way to Sunday, you'll get $250 cash deposited into your account as a credit. Also, if you bet $5,000 in betting handle over the weekend, you'll get $150 deposited in your account. $500 betting handle over the weekend, you'll get $25 deposited into your account. As long as you qualify, all the rules, all the terms and conditions are on the app if you want to go on today. But we're really excited about this one. And what's unique about us is we give cash back. It's not free bets. It's not bonus bets. It's cash that you could just withdraw once you get the credit. So definitely come check us out.
And I do like that aspect because it is somewhat frustrating when you see, hey, free cash, but then there's a lot of terms. There's a lot of, rollover, things of that nature. That's one cool thing I do like about what you guys offer.
Definitely. We're the newest sports book in Tennessee, so we're continuing to grow, and we have some exciting things coming in 2025 that we're looking forward to that I can't tease yet, but definitely check us out.
Allie MIELNICKI of Zen Sports joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Again, the big game sweepstakes finishes up this weekend. The drawing is Tuesday, December 3rd, so be sure and check that out. Go to the app, Zen Sports. Allie, the college football playoff goes to 12 teams this year. They've been, pumping that with the rankings and the bracket projections here for the past few weeks. The fourth one comes out today. Have you all seen an increase in college football action as a result of that? I know college football is popular anyway, but I didn't know, because Wade is a lot more tuned in to that aspect of athletics than I am. But are y'all seeing more action as a result of,
Oh yeah, especially the
playoff?
top 25 teams. Everyone's coming in betting. We had a lot of action this past weekend on Army and Notre Dame. We had a lot of action on Ohio State, Indiana. So definitely when you got those two powerhouse teams playing each other, that's just the recipe for more people are interested in. It's obviously a nationally broadcasted game. So we definitely are seeing an uptick.
I got to ask that question real quick, Allie. Having said all that, who's the one team that Zen Sports maybe hopes does not win it all this year? Who do you guys potentially stand to get roughed up by if they win it all, or is there anybody in particular?
Well, this is the great state of Tennessee that we're in, so we do have a lot riding on the Vols, as would be expected. So it'll be interesting to see what they do come college football playoff time.
Should they get in?
Yeah.
What, from a college football standpoint in particular, what are you looking at this weekend? What do you feel like the big games are?
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the games on Friday. We have a lot of games on the slate for the Black Friday schedule. I think Colorado bounces back. I know they're playing a lowly team. They're big favorites, but I could bet, Coach Prime is going to have his team driving up the score in that one.
Yeah. While we're kind of mentioning college football, what are some other storylines? Mo and I've talked obviously about Indiana the last couple of weeks, but what has captivated you, I guess, this college football season, storyline wise?
It's just crazy, all the upsets from week to week. We just saw teams like Alabama lose, and Georgia lost to Texas, or no, Texas lost to Georgia a few weeks ago. So I guess it's just crazy when these top 10 teams come together and seeing the upsets. So that's really, I don't know if you could truly define, the top 5 teams. Obviously Ohio State, obviously Oregon are right there, but anything can happen come college football playoff time.
It feels like of all the years we've had a 12-team playoff, it literally feels like 12-plus teams maybe could win this whole thing, to me at least.
I agree. I think it's just wide open. You even have some sleepers that no one really has watched lately, like a Boise State. Can they come in and play spoiler, even though they're not one of the major teams you would ever see? So I think it's wide open this year.
Allie, I'm looking at this Texas A&M game, and it's unfortunate that it's not on Black Friday. It's on Saturday night, but they're playing this game in College Station. Texas, the number 3 team in the country, A&M 15. Texas going on the road as a 5.5-point favorite. What do you like about that bet, or who do you like? I
love home underdogs. That's one of my especially in college. That's one of my favorite bets to take. I just think that they get behind the crowd. The crowd is right there with them. So I think Texas ends up pulling it out, but I think this is a field goal game, and I'm going to side with A&M in the points.
I mean, home dogs. That's tough to go against. Mo and I've been known. We pick every Friday against the spread, and we've been known to see the dogs barking on Fridays as well.
Oh yeah.
Any other game jump out at you on Saturday?
That's the big one. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Texas and Texas goes against A&M. They have a lot riding, obviously wanting to beat themselves, get a bye or whatever. So I'm definitely just watching that. That's the game I'm focusing on.
I'm intrigued by Florida State. That game's at Tallahassee. Florida State has had an awful year. They are 15-point underdogs again at home. Now that might be a home dog that I'm not sure that I can get behind that one or not, especially the way Florida has played here of late. But any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that one's tricky. I know how bad Florida State's been, but Florida is coming off a big emotional upset from this past weekend. Sometimes teams tend to fall flat. I know Florida State's always been a big rivalry. But I wouldn't be surprised if Florida State has a backdoor cover or something. That's just a lot of points to lay in this matchup.
You're exactly right. Real quickly, Allie, let's kind of shift gears. We kind of walked through the Thursday and Friday games. I'm curious your thoughts. Outside of we've discussed the Giants, I think enough at this point. But what else has kind of caught your attention? Who are some teams that either you're maybe surprised, good or bad by, I guess, thus far? And I can say that as a Jets fan, knowing we're right there at the bottom of the pile as well.
Yeah, I think everyone is surprised how, the 49ers have just collapsed from being on the cusp of winning the Super Bowl to, almost, their whole team is injured. And even before all the injuries, I know C-Mac is back, Purdy's out, but they haven't looked good all year. They're going up against the Bills this weekend. They're 6.5-point underdogs. They have to play in Buffalo. I'm not liking their chances at all. I think this season's kind of a wash for them.
I've heard the phrase used, season from hell from the 49ers in terms of, injuries. It just feels, to your point, feels like even when they get a little bit of momentum, things have kind of gone against them. If they were to somehow sneak into the playoffs or dare make a run, it feels like it would be one of the wilder stories just because how banged up they've been all year.
Yeah, they've had injuries. Debo, obviously, Christian McCaffrey didn't play at the beginning of the year. Now Brock Purdy's hurt. So it'll be interesting if they could turn it around. I don't have a ton of confidence, but they are playing in a division that they could definitely bounce back in.
Titans go to Washington this weekend, Allie. They are 5.5-point dogs against the Commanders. Commanders have slipped a little bit, and while Tennessee hasn't been great, they are coming off of a road win out at Houston. What do you like there?
Yeah, I this one's a tough one. I could definitely see Tennessee covering, but I could see Washington bouncing back from that embarrassing loss to the Cowboys. They had every opportunity to win that game, and they just kept making mistake after mistake. You wonder if, the rookiness in Jaden Daniels has finally come up to him. But I don't know how much I can trust Will Levis to go back-to-back weeks, like playing at the level he did. So as of now, I would side with just points because I like taking points. But I could also see a Redskins blowout just as easily.
You walked right into something there, Allie, because I was going to ask for Mo. I think he might want to know about this prop. Do you guys offer over-under on interceptions thrown? Because that might be something for Will Levis that Mo would definitely want to get in the market on.
I could definitely talk to my GM and we could get something on the table for that.
Okay.
That should be a standing bet, I do believe. Allie Mielnicki of any college basketball that we need to be on the lookout for here in the next bit?
It's still early for me. I have watched a few of the games. I watched the Duke Kentucky game a few weeks ago. That was quite the showing. So it's still early for me to get into. I usually don't get into college basketball till after Christmas. Because otherwise you're just watching a lot of 50-point blowout games.
I understand. Allie Mielnicki of Zen Sports. Again, the big game sweepstakes wraps up on Saturday. The drawing is on Tuesday. So get your action in to get yourself eligible for that. Could be a trip to the Super Bowl on the line for you or $10,000 in cash. Again, go to the app, Zen Sports. Allie, we appreciate you spending some time with us this afternoon.
Great. Thanks so much, everyone.
All right. When we continue here on Top 5 Tuesday on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, we will get into a little bit more of college football. And in our final segment, we would be remiss if we didn't tell you what will likely be on our Thanksgiving tables on Thursdays and what probably should be on yours. Our top 5 is Thanksgiving dinner must-haves. Stay tuned. We'll get to that here in the second hour. Come back after this break.
Do you want to be a bad man? Yes, you do. Do you want to taste sweet salvation underneath the summer moon? Do you need another hand now? Yes, you do. Go see Miss Josie down on Columbus Avenue. All right, Columbus Avenue.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you. No matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com. Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studios. And man, I know you guys talked about it yesterday, but Bloody Saturday? Is that fair to say? I mean, what, 7 top 20 teams went down this past weekend? It was a hell of a day to not be on Sports Talk Radio yesterday.
Bad day to be a ranked team on Saturday. That is for sure. Man, and that's the crazy thing, right? If we were in the old era of the, way back when in the 4-team playoff, just think about how crazy it would be. But I kind of go back and forth, right? Because on one hand, it feels following all the action and kind of now trying to piece together the bracket, like we'll get into here in a second, was kind of an interesting thought process. But also, on one hand, it kind of felt like with so many teams losing, there wasn't really a ton of ground to make up or drop because 12 teams get in now. So it's going to be fun, and I'll watch every single one of the games, but I do kind of feel like it slightly diminishes some of the punch that some of these upsets of the weekend had.
It does.
Slightly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the shakeup would have been nearly as great in a 4-team playoff because only one top 5 team lost.
I guess I was just getting ready to say, prove my point wrong, I guess, in the sense that a team like Ole Miss, for instance, would not have really even been in the conversation about the playoff at all. So in some way, I guess it adds the drama to what we saw this weekend because, to your point, yeah, just the one top 5 team going down.
Here's the thing. And I think, again, you can kind of look at the Associated Press top 25 as a little bit of a precursor to the college football rankings. Arizona State, the Big 12 is not represented in the top 12. So Arizona State is the top ranked Big 12 team. So they're going to get an automatic in. That's going to kind of knock some folks out of some spots a little bit, kind of force some shifting, I would think. Is it not? Theoretically?
I would think so. And Mo, this was kind of dropped on me today, and it will not happen. But think about how we love chaos. Think about how fun this would be. Technically, the rules are the 4 conference champions and the group of 5 champion. The 4 best conference champions. It doesn't say which conference champions.
Right.
So I'm looking at Tulane. I'm looking at Boise State in a wild scenario where a team like SMU or a team like Colorado or Arizona State, if they end up with 3 or more losses, I mean, there is a hypothetical scenario where the Big 12 or maybe even to a smaller extent, the ACC could get left out completely in that regard.
That'll be interesting.
It won't happen, but it's fun to think about. This is
Yeah.
This is what goes through my mind on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah. I'm kind of workshopping this as we speak, unfortunately, because I did not take care of it before we came on the air. And I've not seen any other projections, but this could potentially be a mess because, again, of the Big 12 not being in that top 12, if Arizona State, and that's crazy. The Big 12 is looking at potentially 256 different scenarios in terms of trying to come up with tiebreakers. There's a possibility of an 8-way tie in the Big 12.
On one hand, it's and I mentioned this with Blaine yesterday, as a neutral fan, Michigan's long gone here, so I'm a neutral fan at this point. As a neutral fan, this is awesome. Like, give me all the chaos. Everybody's back in play. Arizona State seems like, they are absolutely rolling right now. BYU and Colorado are free falling to an extent. That league, I know I just gave you a doomsday scenario. There's a small chance that they could get shut out entirely. But from a drama standpoint, you can't script it any better going into the final weekend. Everybody practically in the whole conference feels like they're eligible.
Everybody but Kansas, which is the one raising the most hell.
And that's crazy. And I saw this too. Baylor, this was mind-blowing to me as well. Baylor is still eligible, picking themselves up off the mat. They have a 5-3 record currently in conference play, but because they had a non-conference game already agreed to earlier, they already lost to Utah this year in a non-conference, quote-unquote, capacity. So how funny would that be if Baylor somehow wins your league, even though
plays one less game?
Even though they would have, technically lost 4 games in conference, even though they would only officially be credited with 3 losses. That league from top to bottom is just nuts.
It really is. And, again, what Kansas did to Colorado over this weekend, I mean, folks have been arrested for less. I mean, they just kind of took them out to the woodshed, 37-21 there. And an unranked team with 3 straight top 25 victories. I mean, we've talked about Kansas and how dangerous they were, but I don't know that we really necessarily thought they were going to beat Colorado.
Yeah,
but they did.
This was the weekend where there were several teams looking at Ole Miss, looking at Alabama, looking at Colorado. It's like, just when I thought I could trust you, just when I thought I could leave you at the house by yourself, me and Bob could go out and have a nice dinner. This is what I come home to. And all 3 of those teams, man, in varying capacities, laid eggs. But Kansas, Florida, and South Carolina should have their own little mini tournament. It feels like to get like a play-in
to get one of them in.
Almost.
Yeah.
I mean, those teams are just playing out of their minds right now with nothing really to play for at the moment.
Pride, I guess. I'm sitting here looking at an article on CBS Sports, and I've kind of been referring to Kansas as a wrecking ball this last couple of weeks. This might be better, though. Exactly, no one wants to play this rolling ball of butcher knives that Kansas has become. I mean, take your pick of descriptives, but they are playing some fantastic ball for a team that is still under 500, still playing for bowl eligibility. The Jayhawks are 5-6. heading into the final weekend of the regular season.
And it's crazy, right? How often do we see teams in the preseason, we hype them up, and then it happens every year. There's at least one or two teams that just fall flat on their face. But it doesn't feel like we see a team that was hyped up, got a lot of buzz about them, and then they free fall only to pull it all together at the end of the season. It feels like Kansas, like you said, is just not just playing their best ball of the season. It feels like they're playing kind of like everybody had potentially forecasted in the preseason.
Right. 5-6 going into Waco, taking on Baylor in this regular season finale, an 11:00 game on Saturday.
And favored by 1.5. Speaking of sports, Kansas slight favorite in that game. This, like you said, the Big 12 is just bonkers at the moment.
It really is. I mean, you look at these standings. Again, there are 4 teams at 6-2. There are 5 more teams at 5-3. Kansas is 4-4. So, I mean, they can't get into that mix. But if all 4 of those 6-2 teams lose, and again, if 4 of those 5-3 teams win, you got an 8-way tie. And I saw this yesterday referencing the SEC, I think, but it would fit for the Big 12 too. Divisional play, please. Because that would address a lot of this, right?
Feels like it. Months ago when the tiebreakers were released for all the conferences, we all kind of laughed and chuckled. You get down to bullet point 13 where it's a coin flip and you're like, very funny. And then boom, here we are.
Coin flip.
Not just the SEC, not just the Big 12. It feels like the majority of your conferences have quite a bit. Even Conference USA, there were 4 teams eligible going into last weekend, and they all played each other down the stretch. I mean, this has been a ratings bonanza. It's been a interest bonanza. I don't know who's wrote the script, but whoever wrote the script for this college football season did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, these commissioners and these league officials all tell you, don't sweat it. It'll all play itself out. Yeah, okay. It's not promising that it's going to play itself out.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine the SEC in a weird way kind of got lucky, right? I mean, we have a pretty clear-cut scenario.
We really do.
Just this time last week, we'd be all your borderline Big 12 status if things didn't go a certain way.
Yeah, I think the Big 12 friend of the show, Caleb Giroux, kind of straightened me out on the SEC. Georgia is apparently in, and the winner of Texas A&M is in, which Tennessee and Tennessee fans, while they may be upset that there is not a path to Atlanta for them at this point, might be the best for you, because you don't have to be exposed to another loss. So, while Lane Kiffin and so many others were trying to figure out how not to get to Atlanta at a point, Tennessee is in that position, even though they are tied with 2 losses. There's no Atlanta out there for them, even if they beat Vanderbilt on Saturday. So, again, might be the best situation to avoid Atlanta and the possibility of that 3rd loss. Meanwhile, should Texas A&M beat Texas, they and Georgia go to the SEC championship. That loser's got 3 losses. Are they going to get in?
Oh man, this is going to be the fun. And had a debate with a friend today talking about how much will the committee, if it is like a Georgia, get penalized if they lose. How much will the penalty be? I think it'll be across the nation. Will be fascinating to see these conference championship games, which Bob Kessling told us last week. The SEC one in particular got so many fond memories, and just it's kind of such a huge event. It feels a little diminished, and to your point, yeah, it almost kind of feels like some teams, we're okay maybe if we don't go. I mean, they say it on The Wire: you cannot lose if you do not play. And I'm really fascinated the psychology of Tennessee fans right now, because on one hand, if you could get in and if you could win the championship game, you're most likely going to look at one of those 4 buys.
Sure.
But, is it worth the risk? That's what's going to be fascinating over these next 2 weeks, I think.
High risk, high reward, no doubt. We talked a little bit earlier about Mac Brown being gone at North Carolina, the first power conference coach to be dismissed. Well, Tulsa has fired Kevin Wilson, who at one point coached at Indiana. I think he's 2 coaches removed from the Hoosiers job, but had to be frustrating to watch the season that they've had this season under Kurt Cignetti, while the Hurricane was struggling to a 3-8 campaign, having lost to South Florida this past weekend. Wilson 7-16 in just under 2 seasons at Tulsa. They were 4-8 last year with him. He becomes the 6th coach in the American Athletic Conference to be dismissed already. And the season ain't even over yet. East Carolina, Charlotte, Rice Temple, and Florida Atlantic all preceded Tulsa in pulling the trigger on their coaches that they came into the 2024 season with. So
I know that's a tough job, but man, that's just a program that just ask me something about Tulsa football right now. I can't give you much. I don't nothing about them kind of jumps out to me at the moment. I'm not saying that was the reason, obviously, for the dismissal, but anytime you do get a chance to reset, you get a little enthusiasm, because right now I couldn't tell you much about those guys.
No, Tulsa pretty nondescript. They're not one of those teams at the top of that conference, and that's pretty well where you got to be to really create a whole lot of buzz in that conference is to kind of be at the top of it. So again, Kevin Wilson out at Tulsa. I think that brings you to 13 coaching vacancies across Division I college football at this point, or across FBS college football. But one position that is not vacant is East Carolina, because they fired Mike Houston a few weeks ago, but apparently they have decided to go with their interim guy, Blake Harrell. The Pirates have gone 4-0 since Harrell was appointed interim in place of Mike Houston. And they are expected to make it official tomorrow. Again, trailed North Texas 21-0 this past weekend, came back to win 40-28 for their 4th straight win. Wow. Again, they were 3-4 when Houston was dismissed. They are now 7-4. They're 5-2 in the American. So they are bowl eligible despite a coaching change.
Yeah, talk about we've talked about the interim bump, man. That's beyond the interim bump. It feels like those guys, the Pirates are rolling, right?
Yeah. I mean, they're not Kansas, but I mean they are certainly playing some pretty good ball right now. So that's it's pretty wild. Our number 1 of Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, is in the books. When we return to the Lee Company studios for hour number 2, we will be joined by the Blue Raider voice, the jet-setting pride of the dimple, Chip Walters. Stay tuned after the break.
Nashville's Nutcracker returns to TPAC this December, presented by Nashville Ballet. This holiday season, audiences will journey with Clara and the Nutcracker Prince through Nashville's history and the land of sweets. Tickets at NashvilleBallet.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Vilay Saisuka, CEO and founder of Premier Foot and Ankle Centers of Tennessee, here in Murfreesboro. We offer foot and ankle care from ingrown toenails to diabetic foot wounds. We also fix ankle fractures and things like that.
Call us today to schedule an appointment. We look forward to seeing you.
Because here at Premier Foot and Ankle, we believe that
the journey begins with happy feet.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Hour number 2 of Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, starts right now. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes. We are pleased to be joined now by the Blue Raider voice and National Sports Media Association 2024 Tennessee Sportscaster of the Year finalist, Chip Walters. Chip.
Thank you.
Good afternoon and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. But you know, it was like I mentioned, it was kind of like that Sesame Street moment. You know, one of these things is not like the others, and in that group. But man, happy to say that every one of those people that are finalists are all really good friends of mine, and anybody is any of those others are certainly deserving, and you know, wish everybody all the best. So good group of sports writers on the finalist list too this year, as always. And Dave Gorin does a tremendous job. He kind of gave NASMA, the National Sports Media Association, a rebirth and a rebrand, and made it it's really a fun organization.
You know, you don't want to give Dave too much credit, but as long as he's not listening, I'd agree with you. He has done a great job with that organization. Alongside you as Tennessee Sportscaster of the Year finalist, friend of the show, Bob Kessling. You know, come on Main Street Sports Today and good things happen.
Hey,
yeah, there you go.
We'll just leave it at that. Bob Kessling, the voice of the Vols. Don Davenport of 3 Hour Lunch. We don't like to talk about shows that are in the same time slot as us, but we will make an exception for Dawn. Nashville Sounds play-by-play announcer Jeff Ham,
Friend of the show.
Yep. Jill Jelnick of WZTV out of Nashville, the one-man wrecking crew over there for
Hardest
WZTV.
working lady in sports.
Okay, now be careful.
She and Teresa.
Okay, thank you.
Mother Teresa.
Vanderbilt Radio Network's Kevin Ingram, friend of the show. Pete Weber, a man who needs no introduction, but also a friend of the show. Those are your other Sportscaster of the Year finalists. Your Sports Writer of the Year finalists include Adam Sparks, Aria Gerson, Gentry Estes, and George Robinson, and Mike Organ, all of Gannett. Jim White of the Tennessee Titans, Joe Rexroad of the Athletic, friend of the show, Stephen Hargis, sports editor at the Chattanooga Times Free Press, and ESPN.com's Teron Davenport, who covers the Titans. So, as you said, quite the list there as well. 369 finalists for Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year. So, Chip,
hey, real quick, to both of y'all's credit, we've been blessed. The state of Tennessee, when you look at those lists that come out every year, I'm not scouring the main sportscaster list by any stretch, but man, we are fortunate to have a lot of great talent on both sides of the spectrum in terms of broadcasting and writing in this state.
Always have.
You are correct, sir. And when you get to be me and Chip's age, you've worked with, you've worked alongside a lot of these folks. You've had an opportunity to watch them work and to see their work. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't know that you could necessarily go wrong with any of these folks as winners in either of these categories, and to emerge as the winner in both of these categories, when you consider what the competition is like, it's definitely going to be an honor for whoever wins both of these. And again, Chip, congratulations to you for, not that it comes as a surprise, but for being in such fast company.
Yeah, well, I like, life in the fast lane is like that, Mo. But again, it's just a super honor to be on that list, and it is very honored, very humbled by it. So we'll see who gets the call in January.
Is that when it is?
That's the email I got from Dave. That's what it said, that they'll be. Those winners will be announced in January at some point. So, okay. But a lot of work to do between now and then.
Yeah, you do. Starting with this football team, Coach Walters, what happened Saturday?
According to Coach Mason, did not communicate on defense, and which, when he went into a deeper explanation about that last night. That it was explained it pretty well that, they had some coverage busts, and he said it all boiled down. It wasn't that there was anything they hadn't seen before, or had not seen or worked on in practice, that they just did not get their pre-snap communication down in the during the ball game like they should have. Now, Middle, he did credit a couple of things. Number one, that also did a pretty decent job against the New Mexico State run game, which had been their strength coming up to that point. But the ball game got off to a horrible start. On the third play of the game, you had a tipped pass that ended up being a 30-yard pick six. So you're digging out of a hole there. They ended up scoring on a field goal, got up 10-0, and it was 13-7 at the half, and there was a huge play near the end of the first half where Middle had a 4th and 1, and apparently everybody in the stadium except the 2 linesmen thought that a first down had been gained, and neither,
Wow.
and there was a review, and the explanation was that they didn't have enough camera angles, but it was it was one of those where it was at the 36-yard line, which where my booth is at about the 37-yard line. And, I mean, it was about as good an angle as I could get, and it was no question that so it was a really good drive that was going. Did that lose the ball game? No. Did an offensive face mask penalty that stopped a drive called
I've
back?
seen a lot of those here recently. Is that a point of emphasis or what?
Maybe, but Middle only had 6 penalties, but they committed them at the exact wrong times. It's interesting. Teams that aren't having a good year typically don't have good things happen to them.
Yeah.
Teams that are having good years have good luck, and right now, that's kind of where Middle is right now. You got 3 wins going into a game with FIU, and it'll be interesting to see how Derek and Mike McIntyre both look at this game, because neither one is looking at any sort of outside shot of, there's not going to be enough bowl slots filled, so we'll go back to APR. You're not going to be in that list. So it's going to be interesting on here with 1 game left. They've both got a lot of kids who have played 0, 1, 2, or 3 games, have appeared in that number of games, that have at least 1 more game they can appear in and get action on tape. And so it'll be interesting. Will we see a younger quarterback in the game for a series or 2 just to have that on tape to go into winter workouts? What about some young receivers or defensive backs, things like that? And that goes for both squads. And I think they're both in that situation where I think they kind of want to see what they've got. And it wouldn't be surprising at all to me to see either one of these teams play a few names that we haven't seen a ton of so far this year.
Mike has to be a little careful with that, I would think. Mike McIntyre, the Florida International coach, because as I look here at coacheshotseat.com, number 1 with a bullet is the former Brentwood Academy standout.
He's number 1?
Number 1.
I wouldn't have thought that, but that does, temper the line of thinking just a bit.
I mean, your line of thinking, I think, is pretty spot on under normal circumstances. If you are a coach coaching for your job, and maybe that plays into it as well. Maybe you burn some folks' red shirts on your way out the door. I don't know. I don't know.
You're getting in the game, buddy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and that's unfortunate. But I think this may or may not necessarily be strictly on the field, as I've seen some social media scuttlebutt that maybe his interaction with current and former players hasn't been the greatest. I don't know. But yeah, again, coacheshotseat.com, he is the hottest seat in college football right now, apparently. Followed by Neil Brown of West Virginia, Kenny Burns at Kent State, and Sean Clark at App State. So, for what that's worth.
Hey, real quick, Chip, I got to ask you, feel free to demo if you'd like. How much have you been brushing up? I'm compelled to ask how much you've been brushing up on your pit bull ahead of this trip this week.
And
if you want to demo some moves, we're okay with that too.
Well, I will not demo any moves. I thought Pitbull was a DJ, but apparently he is an artist as well. Correct? I
Yeah,
didn't see him
I
on
think
the
he
CMA
started as a
Awards last
DJ,
week.
and yeah, he's just like this worldwide phenomenon now, who apparently just going around naming stadiums after himself.
Well, he's from the 305 down there, and what he's doing will, obviously help them. I do know a couple. I can't tell you the names of them, but I recognize a couple of Pitbull tunes. That's, I think that's a great partnership, and it wouldn't surprise me, it's somewhere down the road, that would, we're in a perfect area, not necessarily with a hip hop artist, but other potential genres of music that might have flowed through the university's portals at some point to have some sort of name there. You never know.
I was just getting ready to ask you,
That's a good thought experiment there.
With the RIM major that we have, and with Middle Tennessee State's impact on the recording industry and that kind of thing, what artists would you like to see the powers that be make a pitch to for naming rights for our facility?
Let's see. Let me try to think of who we have connections. Who there's some connections with. Well, there's already a kind of a club on campus, a pseudo club that's used as a laboratory for that Chris Young's name is on, the Chris Young Cafe. Let's see.
Maybe he'd like to expand his exposure a little bit.
You never know. Let's see. Vince Gill's daughter, Jenny Gill, went to school at Middle. We could have the Jenny Dome or something like that, or the Lady Antebellum. There's connection there.
I didn't realize that MTSU had connections to Lady A.
Yeah. What's the girl, the lead singer?
Hillary Scott.
Hillary Scott. She is a Middle. She matriculated at the university.
Did not know that. Huh.
Yeah. And that's some of your. Or we could have the alum Carla Winfrey could come back. We could have the Carla Winfrey Stadium. Oprah's cousin, right? Isn't she cousin?
I believe so. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a good list, and folks that are on the checking on that wall of fame over there in the Bragg building. So
cool.
it'd be fun, and it doesn't have to be somebody who's got the connection. You think about, okay, who's had some success on that campus? Well, Garth Brooks has played 5 shows there, and he might have a little extra coin, and he
probably.
If he wanted to have a stadium tour, he could have it in the stadium in his name. That'd be a good one.
That would be a good one. Chip, you were on hand for 2 of 3 MTSU men's basketball games in Myrtle Beach. You were not on hand for the one that they lost. Are you?
Don't tell anybody. Don't give away secrets.
Bradley 80, MTSU 69 on Sunday after a couple of really impressive wins over there.
Yeah, you just kind of think about this. The Ohio U is the prohibitive favorite in the MAC. Middle wins that game. Comes from behind actually gets it tied at the end of regulation and wins it in overtime. They carried that momentum, but Bradley is the preseason favorite in the MAC.
From the Valley?
From the Valley. No, they're in the Mid-American Conference. Ohio U is.
Okay.
Ohio is. Then South Florida, who won 25 games and the regular season championship in the American last year. Middle put half 100 plus 1 on them in the first half and won 95-88 against that team, who is really good and had to hold on. That was the day Jalen Counter got injured in the first half, and South Florida put up double nickels in the second half. They scored 55 in the second half of that game, and it ended up being a 7-point ball game. It got cut to 3, and Justin Porter hit a huge 3 that answered a South Florida 3 that really kind of stole some momentum back. So you got they're again defending champions of the American. Then you come in and you've got Bradley, who is the preseason favorite in the Missouri Valley. And possibly the most, while South Florida is easily the fastest team we've played all year, no question, fastest, they can get up and down the floor. Bradley, to me, is the most offensively gifted team that Middle has played. They shoot about 40% from, or 40% or a little over from three as a team. They average in the 80s. They've got they can play. They've got a big 7-footer that they can play in a slow kind of game. And when he's out of the game, they've got a 6'9" Icelandic kid who can shoot the eyeballs out of it, and they play fast. And so they're going to be a really tough out for somebody. And Middle got that game cut to 5 twice late in the second half, and every time they did, credit to Bradley, they came in right back out and had 5-0 runs of themselves. Middle cut it to, Middle had worked for 10 minutes, cutting it from like 13 down to 5. In the minute they got it to 5 and there was a timeout, they come out of the timeout, Bradley hits a 2 and then a 3. And within 30 seconds, and it puts it right back at 10. And so that, that was tough. So you got them, they're the preseason in the Missouri Valley. This Sunday, Middle goes to UAB, who is the preseason favorite in the American this year, picked ahead of Memphis, who did a number on UConn yesterday. And although UAB has had a little bit of a rockier start than expected, but what it has done, it has raised the strength of schedule level right now to a huge number, still knowing that after you go to UAB, the following Saturday, you go to Belmont, which is never a cakewalk. And then about a week to 10 days after that, you go to Knoxville and take on the Volunteers. So Nick McDevitt's team will be battle tested when they make the trip to Miami to start the conference season on January 2nd. But and this is a team that right now has, they're not going to go through this unscathed. But I think even in the loss, people who saw the game and watched it, came away and said, this is a pretty competitive, game right here between two really good teams. And even though you lose the game, which you don't like, you didn't feel bad about your effort and going into that or coming out of that thing.
Yeah, to that point, Chip, I was just trying to brush up real quick on Bradley. I went to KenPom. They're in the top 85. Pretty solid. Obviously, not a super household name, but if you kind of, follow college basketball, they're big. And you just ran through that schedule. That is one that there's not a lot of, other than Tennessee, games that are just like, ooh, wow, that's just a marquee superstar type opponent. But man, it is a murderer's row.
It is a rock solid schedule.
Absolutely. And to your point, they will be very battle tested come conference schedule time, it feels like.
Yep. And, and then you don't want to, you've got a game against Rhodes College in there right after the UAB game, and you don't want to screw around, on something like that and let your guard down. But I think this team, especially when you look at the makeup of it, when they've got, and you hope you get Jalen Counter back pretty quick, and he could possibly play Sunday. And also we may see Alec Oglesby for the first time on Sunday, who is easily the best 3-point shooter on this roster. But, when you've got Counter, who is a 5th-year guy, and you have Mustafa, who is a 25-year-old, literally, you've got two guys in the front court and back court who give you a great deal of stability, and that showed itself Thursday against Ohio in the way that they played that game and did all of the right things down the stretch. When they were down like 5 or 7, whatever it was, they didn't come down and rush threes. They took the 2s when they were there and then made the big 3 when they had to make the 3. But they were trading, field goals for free throws and trying to work their way back in, and were able to do that, and didn't panic, didn't get overextended, and went about it the right way. And I think that was because they had a really mature way of going about them down the stretch of that ball game, and that to me was one of the real impressive stretches I thought that came out of that tournament down in Myrtle.
Yeah, Mustafa in particular plays with a maturity that that you would expect a 25-year-old to play with. He never seems to get rushed. It doesn't seem like.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't get rushed, doesn't get panicked. And I think if you saw Sunday's game, we saw a young Chris Loof, who had a career high with 15 points, come out there with some Isam Mustafa-like moves. He kind of has adapted a little bit of patience and a little bit of the old man game into his game, and I thought has made himself, a much more versatile player as well. And like Nick said on the post game show, I asked him about that, and he goes, that is a direct reflection of having to go against Isam Mustafa every day in practice.
And I would imagine, between having to go against Mustafa and having Reggie Upshaw over there as well, he's picking up a few things as well. So yeah, that's great for him. Meanwhile, the women, big win in Tallahassee this morning, knocking off Florida A&M. I think they had like 4 or 5 folks in double digits in that 80-54 victory. So they're continuing to roll.
They are, and I did not get to listen to the entire game. I heard the wrap up, but they went deep into their bench, which was good to see. They got into a position early with a big lead to where they could play their second line group a good bit, and I know that was something that Coach Insel wanted to be able to do today. And looking at the box score right now, I can tell you that as I roll it up, everybody played. Anastasia Boldreva had 22. Tamia Scott, her nightly 26. Alina Enrique had 20, or that was minutes. Let's go points. 19 for Boldreva. But when 26 minutes is the most that you had anybody play, that is an un-Rick Insel-like number.
It really is. It really is for your starters. Yeah, like you said, 26 is the most any starter got.
But Boldreva had 19. Enrique had 14. Jalen Gregory had 11 points on the day. They played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Played 14 out there today, which was really nice.
Yeah. The schedule ramps up a bit later this week as they take on Purdue on Thursday. Emily Monson's former team, by the way.
Yes.
And then they play Iowa State on Sunday, featuring sophomore. Is it Saturday? Saturday, excuse me. Iowa State on Saturday, featuring sophomore phenom Audie Crooks. If you've not seen her play, you should. You hear about Juju Watkins and some of these other folks, but Audie is probably one of the top players in that class as well, and she will be a handful for Boldreva and Enrique and everybody else down there in the paint. But that'll be a real test for Middle, I think.
Yeah, and a couple of those games, both MTSU games are, of course, on the radio, but also on the Women's Sports Network. I think it's a streaming thing, but this is going to be one of those where if Middle can go down there and pick off one or both, that's going to, number one, it's going to help their net along the way anyway, and number two, it is a really good opportunity to play two teams that are going to be in the tournament when it comes around in March, and to play in a neutral site type atmosphere down in Fort Myers in a very high level event.
All right. Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, National Sports Media Association Tennessee Sportscaster of the Year finalist, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today. Again, come on Main Street Sports Today. Good things happen. Chip, we appreciate it, and have a great Thanksgiving. Hey, again, our top 5 here in the next couple of segments is top 5 Thanksgiving dinner musts. What's yours?
Oh, it got to be the good dressing. I'm gonna go. I'll throw you the other curveball too here. I love to have it's the baked pineapple and cheese casserole. Have you ever had that?
Pineapple and cheese
It's
casserole.
a
I have not had
pineapple and
that.
cheese. Oh man, and it's warm. It's served warm,
Mhm.
and it's one of my kind of that's the kind of off the beaten path.
That is off the beaten path. I'm gonna have to do a little research on that and get back with you. But yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
I do know that it will be on hand at my cousin's over in Franklin on Thursday. And
In Franklin, you say?
Yes, and
maybe I'll have to come through and
pull up.
Try that. Well,
scoop
and
some up. Yeah.
I mean, I've got 2 of them. I got one down on Carter's Creek that I have to go to on earlier on Saturday. Then I'll make a stop in Franklin, and I have a cousin who will be there, and she always makes sure that she has a strawberry cake that I will have a slice or 2. There will be a to-go box involved in that place over there. So I'm just saying,
There
be
you
ready.
go. Sounds good. Chip, we appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, boys.
Thank you, Chip.
When we continue here on Top 5 Tuesday on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, it'll be the grab bag when we return to the Lee Company studios after this break. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Riley, a certified physician associate here at Premier Foot and Ankle Centers of Tennessee. We have a couple locations, Murfreesboro, McMinnville, as well as Franklin. We treat people of all ages. We're excited to get you back on your feet and hope we can help you today.
Call us today to schedule an appointment. We look forward to seeing you.
Because here at Premier Foot and Ankle, we believe that
The journey begins with happy feet.
He shoots, and he scores!
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That is Wade Neely. We are coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes, and it's the grab bag before we get to our Thanksgiving dinner must-haves in the final segment on Top 5 Tuesday. The Harbowl, Baltimore 30, LA Chargers 23. I didn't get to see a lot of this one, Wade, so I'm going to lean on you. But I do know that LA was up in this game. I wouldn't say commandingly necessarily, but they were up early.
Yeah, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm like you, partner. I didn't get to watch any of this game as I was so disappointed. I finally learned about 4 days ago that the game was played. I'd heard for months that they were playing Thanksgiving week, and I just assumed that meant that they were going to play on Thanksgiving. And I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. The Ravens are going to be great. The Chargers probably should be a little better this year. I was so pumped, and then it was kind of a dud. And I had tickets to go to an event last night and didn't get to see any of it. I was kind of keeping the little tabs, but man, Baltimore continues to be a walking enigma, proving that they can beat anybody and their offense can score on anybody. One of the best defenses in the league surrendered 30 points last night. On the other hand, we've seen Baltimore have some real clunkers this year. So seems like a pretty good little hard bowl last night. And, I would have loved to have tuned into the I assume there was a Manning cast. That would have been probably a perfect night to tune into the Manning cast, given the brother connection there as well.
Yeah. And Lamar Jackson had a great quote. Said it means a lot. With me being a big brother, I can't lose to my little brother. That's what I believe going into the game. He was thinking about that a lot. We came out victorious today. So Lamar Jackson threw for a couple of touchdowns, ran for one. Derrick Henry runs for 140 yards. Trying to stay up with Saquon, I guess, but big win for the Ravens, improving to 8-4 with that victory. I think the Chargers fall to 7-4 with the loss. So
not a bad loss, but man, LA had won 4 in a row. Like I said, their defense was playing very well. That was a good measuring stick game, and they kind of did not live up to the measuring stick. The only thing that was also a little disappointing was that Jack and Jackie Harbaugh weren't even there last night. Apparently, they were down in Florida with some other relatives, including, son-in-law, Tom Crean. They were celebrating their 63rd wedding anniversary last night. So they said, we can't be there. We can't watch our two sons duke it out like that.
Yeah, well, they should have tipped the NFL. Maybe they could have done something about that. But
I'm telling you, if it had been on Thanksgiving, it would have been. If you could replace the Giants and Cowboys with that, it would have been fantastic.
Yeah, to say the least. The Ravens, with that win, they are in control of the number 5 spot in the AFC, just ahead of the Chargers. If the season ended today, which obviously it does not, but they are a half game behind the Steelers, tied in the win column in the AFC North with that victory. So nice measuring stick win for the Ravens. Like you said, still a lot of ball to be played. Still, the Ravens still have 5 games left in this 17-game season. So that's long way to go and a lot of hurdles to get over. So.
Yeah, if you come out of that game, you're feeling good if you're a Ravens fan. Big question mark, though, with J.K. Dobbins going out just before halftime and didn't play the entire second half. That could be massive and something for the Chargers, rather, and something to keep your eyes on going forward. They got the Eagles next week, which should be a fun little afternoon game.
Yeah, should be. On the ice, I'm not sure how much y'all talked about Predators 4, Winnipeg 1 from over the weekend, but whatever you said, just retract it because New Jersey 5, Predators 2 last night on the road. Just whatever goodwill you might have gotten out of that win on Saturday night against a really good Winnipeg team kind of got erased.
Yeah, can talk about a up and down team, and it's been more downs than ups. Nashville is floundering for sure, and the only thing I'm clinging to as a fan is hockey's the most. It feels like the streakiest of all sports, and all it takes is a win or two. We saw Nashville go on that epic run last year in the second half of the season, but you certainly don't want to put yourself in a position where you have to do that to even get.
No. And it kind of feels like that's what they are doing. I mean, we had Ann Kimmel from Penalty Box Radio on Friday, David and I did, and we talked to her about, how inconsistent this team is and how it was going to be tough to kind of come out and, right the ship against Winnipeg as good and as hot as they were. And sure enough, they come in and they get a 3-goal win on Saturday, and then you think, okay, well, maybe this is the catalyst for something. Nope, no catalyst. Turn right around and drop one by 3 goals. So, this, you called the Ravens an enigma. I think this Predators team, again, for all of the off-season moves that they made, continue to be an enigma as well. And that's not a compliment by any stretch.
No.
Staying in the National Hockey League, we talked a week ago, particularly kind of in reference to the Predators' struggles about how Boston had fired their coach, Jim Montgomery, after an 8-9-3 start. Well, one man's trash is another man's treasure is a cliche for a reason, because the St. Louis Blues hired Jim Montgomery over the weekend as their coach. He made his debut last night and picked up a win against the Rangers 5-2. So, it's only one game, and so I mean, I don't know how much you can put in it, but it's just kind of interesting to watch how that falls out, I guess.
Yeah, I saw that loosely on the timeline last night, and I was like, hang on, is that the same guy?
Same guy.
Man, talk about a quick turnaround. And yeah, I loved his quote. He basically said it was crazy. There's no other word for it. Kind of how quick it's been. And I'm just mentally trying to think about, you put so much time and effort, obviously with a full off season and then the preseason into one team. And yeah, you might know a little bit about some of the other teams around the league, but then boom, just to come in and have to learn all that and get things running up again on the fly. That's just mind blowing to me.
And to come in and get a win right off the rip like that, that's really eye-catching, I think. I think it'll be interesting to see how this progresses. As Mark pointed out to us when we were discussing this last week, Montgomery was fired in December 2019 by the Dallas Stars in his first head coaching role for unprofessional conduct. Again, was hired by the Bruins. They won 120 of 184 games under him in regular season play, including 65 in his first season. And again, 8-9-3 was more than they care to deal with. But
hey, speaking of, real quick, I just saw this. I'm reading a little bit more on this. It doesn't really necessarily help the Blues, but it maybe could have helped the Bruins. Every team this guy has coached for a full season has made the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's just mind blowing.
Maybe you just ride it out with this guy.
I don't know. Like I said, I know Boston's got bigger aspirations than where they were, but it's like, hey, I mean, you could have done worse, it felt like.
Again, as we said last week when we were discussing this, it felt a little quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Memphis did what it was supposed to do last night against the Blazers, 123-98.
Ja had one of the sickest passes I have seen. That's even by Ja standards. It was pretty sick. So it's good win for them. They got the Pistons tomorrow night too. It'd be nice to start stacking a couple wins here with everybody kind of slowly getting healthy again.
Ja 22 and 11. So that pass that you referred to was one of 11 assists for him in that win as they moved to 11-7 with the win. Jaren Jackson Jr. with 21. Santee with 13. What do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys in double digits, including Jay Huff. So, yeah, big win for the Grizz. Apparently, the Los Angeles Angels liked what they saw out of Yusei Kikuchi down the stretch. Signed him to a 3-year, $63 million deal, and a lot of that, kind of bolstered by his performance in Houston after the trade deadline when the Blue Jays sent him over there. He was he had a 2.70 ERA in his final 10 starts with Houston. 5.43 strikeout to walk ratio over 60 innings. 5.43. You'll take that.
Absolutely. And, Houston kind of went all in on this guy, knowing that they probably weren't going to get him back. There was some talk, and maybe they could, woo him into returning. But he pitched himself into a nice payday the second half of the season. That is for sure.
Yeah. The Angels making some noise here in the offseason. Again, they traded for Jorge Soler. They signed Travis d'Arnaud. They've also added pitcher Kyle Hendricks and infielders Kevin Newman and Scott Kingery. Now, I'm not sure just how significant either of those infield acquisitions are, but they've certainly brought in some guys who have played and contributed to some winning situations, and Kikuchi no different. So maybe the Angels have gotten tired of losing. I'm sure Ron Washington has gotten tired of losing.
Yeah, and props to them, unless you're going out and just making absolute splash signings, it feels like a lot of these franchises just sit back and when they're in lean years, they kind of just try and wait for the time. But at least they're bringing in some guys that you feel relatively confident about.
Yeah. We kind of talked a little bit about this at various points, and it has come to fruition at least once. Headline on CBSSports.com. Walker Buehler turned down Athletics free agency pitch over Sacramento situation, manager says. Mark Kotze, manager of the Athletics, the Cityless Athletics, apparently speaking to a group late last week, acknowledged that they had reached out to Buehler, who is a free agent now, the former Vandy boy, who has spent his entire career with the Dodgers. And Buehler said he had no interest in playing in Sacramento. And who would? What major leaguer would want to play under those conditions in a minor league stadium on artificial turf where a number of their games are going to take place during the day in Central California? So it's going to be an uphill battle for them, as we figured it would be. But, it's unfortunate. It's a situation that they created for themselves, and not a lot of sympathy here.
Yeah, and I imagine this won't be the only story like that we hear going forward, right?
No, I wouldn't think. Or maybe it will be the only story we hear, but I would imagine this will happen. I would imagine this will happen more than once.
Good point. Yeah.
The Athletics. So yeah. Let's take a quick break, come back for the final segment of Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. It is Top 5 Tuesday. Our top 5 Thanksgiving dishes. I don't think there will be any pineapple and cheese on here, but we'll see what we come up with. Stay tuned after the break.
So, you want to be a part of the Busy Bee team, huh? Well, how do you see yourself fitting into the organization? Oh, I get it. You want to be a weather bee.
This holiday season, the largest lantern festival in the country returns to Nashville Zoo. Experience more than 1,000 all-new, handcrafted lanterns, towering creatures, magical worlds, and a North Pole village. At the center of it all, the Smashville Ice Rink. Welcome back to Zoolumination at Nashville Zoo. Bigger, brighter, and better than ever.
It's the final segment of Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, which means it's time for Top 5 Tuesday, presented by Mid-South 5 Fitness. 2 great locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Whatever shape it is that you are in, Thalos Steel will get you in a better one. You can find him at Steel Athletes, STEEL Athletes.com. Again, Mid-South 5 Fitness bringing you Top 5 Tuesday, and it's kind of appropriate, I guess, that Mid-South 5 Fitness is bringing you Top 5 Tuesday, because Wade and I are going to dive into our Top 5 Thanksgiving dinner must-haves. And I will tell you, I am intrigued by this pineapple and cheese casserole, so much so that I had to go and look it up over the break. We hope to have time to get back to this. But right now, Wade, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I went ahead and texted Mom and asked that she been familiar. And I've got some aunts and uncles. I've got some aunts and uncles that live that we don't get to visit very often. Apparently, that's their claim to fame. So she is aware of it. And if it wasn't going to be, if Thanksgiving wasn't 2 days, I would maybe take my crack at trying to make it. But without having tried it before, I don't want to show up and, get laughed out of the building. So,
well, here's the thing, though. If it's just kind of an addition to whatever's going to be there, then if it's good, it's great. And if it's not, well, you're not taking anything away. I mean, I wouldn't take it instead of one of your tried and trues, but I'm thinking maybe. Anyway.
Yeah, Chip spawned that on us. Off the rip, let me go number one. Turkey is obviously what everybody thinks of Thanksgiving, but for me, it's the dressing. You give me the good dressing. I don't even need turkey. I don't even really need much else. I'm going to go through your fridge and look and see what kind of hot sauces you have, and I will judge you accordingly. But give me a little hot sauce on the dressing, and I'm off to the races. That's got to be my number one overall.
Okay, so here's a question, because I fight with everybody in my family over this one. Onions or no in your dressing?
I would lean no, but I'm not opposed. I'm an equal opportunity dressing connoisseur in that regard. Okay. But see, not enough to have an opinion one way or the other. It's not going to dissuade me from scooping it up.
Yeah, my preference would be no. I will eat it with the onions, but my preference, I don't like onions. Anyway. Well, I don't like onions in dressing. Let me say that. Turkey takes a lot of slander, man. But I mean, if it's made right, it's almost. I mean, it's literally to me a must-have at Thanksgiving. I don't know that you have to have it any other time, but yeah, I'm going to go turkey.
Yeah, turkey. I mean, like I said, personal preference, just dressing number one, because if you show up to somebody's house for Thanksgiving and you're sitting around the table, after a while, everybody says, "Where's the turkey?" I mean. So I see where you're going with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Number two for me, you can have this anytime, but man, mac and cheese on Thanksgiving just on the plate is as good as it gets. I got to go mac and cheese number 2.
It feels a little empty without mac and cheese, and I'm kind of responsible for that actually at my place. So, number 2 for me is it's a little specific. It's sweet potato casserole, but it's my mom's sweet potato casserole, and she does something with it with some type of glaze on top. No marshmallows. Skip the marshmallows, but yeah, sweet potato casserole is my number 2.
Yeah, I'm with you. If you're adding the marshmallows, you're hiding something.
Yep.
I feel like. know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes. It's kind of like too much barbecue sauce on certain porks. Yep.
Number 3 for me, give me pumpkin pie. I'm not a huge dessert guy, but Thanksgiving, I will mow down some pumpkin pie and I'll fight people over the last piece if I have to.
Gotta have rolls at Thanksgiving. Homemade is my preference, but I will certainly settle for Sister Schubert's. Sister Schubert's, which if you're going from here to Panama City Beach, you drive past the factory somewhere in southern Alabama, by the way. So, just for what that's worth. I don't know if you can drop in there and grab a couple of pans or what, but you can see the Schubert factory once you get off, I-65 and you start going down the side roads. So
have to
number 4, Wade.
Number 4 for me, this is a Neely tradition, and it's not, I'm gonna whisper this, it's not my favorite, but that's okay. It's not about me on Thanksgiving, but Neely strawberry pretzel salad is kind of the stuff of legend, not just in the family, but in Giles County at large. And it's got to be included. I don't want Mom getting mad at me, so I got to give her props.
I understand. Number 4 for me, I don't think we're going to have it this year because nobody wants to pain with it, but deviled eggs. They're not just a summer thing. Give me some deviled eggs.
Man, that's my that's the LeBron versus Michael Jordan debate for me, because some years when they're done right, I could eat a whole tray of them, and then some years I don't want anything to do with them. So
I saw something. I saw something on social media here where they deep fried, the whites, and then put the egg filling in it, and that's more work than I want to take on. But oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. Your 5th and final, sir.
Last for me, I'm on the potato duty, so I've got potatoes au gratin, Hasselback potatoes, basically, and you just get to pour a ton of cheese on top of everything, toss it in the oven, and you pull it apart. When it's done right, you get to pull it apart, kind of like a little casserole or a little chips almost. And man, it's one of my go-tos.
That's solid. My number 5, you talked about pumpkin pie. My mom's chess pie. It's brown sugar chess pie, and it's a Southern thing. And she has gone to chess pie tarts, which make them even more dangerous because you don't have to cut anything. You can just go and grab one or 2 or 3. So yeah, chess pie tarts. Again, I'm going to have to do some more research on this pineapple cheese casserole because it might be showing up Thursday at our place if it's not too hard. So I don't want to work too much, and I've already got the mac and cheese to deal with. That's going to do it for Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today. Again, Top 5 Tuesday presented by Mid-South 5 Fitness, 2 great locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Find Thala Steel at steelathletes.com, STEEL athletes.com. That's going to do it for today's show. Check back in with us tomorrow right here, 2 o'clock. Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Wade and I will be right back here in the Lee Company studios. We will see y'all tomorrow.